Hello there, private practice owners. This is Lisa Wozniak with Woz Marketing. Welcome you to another episode of Private Practice Owners of the Month. And this month, we are pleased to be featuring Steve Dailey. Steve is the owner and lead coach of Achievement Bridge Coaching and Consulting. And Steve has been a business coach for more than 30 years, helping business owners to achieve their very, very best in business and whatever goals they have set for themselves, performance and otherwise. And one of the things that I really love about what Steve does from a marketing perspective, that I've asked him to come on so that we could feature him today, is the theory of reciprocity. And it's done really great things for Steve's coaching practice. And so I thought maybe that all of you could glean from his expertise. So welcome, Steve. Thanks for being here today.
Thanks, Lisa. It's great to be here. I love what you do. And if I can contribute to folks that you serve, it's more than my pleasure.
With that in mind, can you kind of give us a feeling for what motivated you to take on the theory of reciprocity when it comes to marketing your business practice?
Well, several motives or prompts, if you will, that I think life literally handed me along the line. Very simply, early, my very first career, I was a national level swimming coach. I worked with national level athletes around the country to help them as they were aspiring for Olympics and that caliber of competition. I found myself in communities or places around the country that had some good material, if you will, facilities and a population of kids and that kind of thing, but the programs were not yet large enough to attract the caliber of kid that could actually aspire to the highest levels. You have to have a lot of kids in a program in order to have those few that pop out to be national level. And one of the things I learned about right out of the gate was I needed to make swimming famous in the community so kids would come. And the way to do that was by giving something to the community with the resources that I had. So, for example, I helped the newspaper have a more feature-rich area of their sports page by suggesting that they spotlight local athletes that were doing well. And by the way, if you found your way to maybe spotlight a swimmer now and again, let me know. I'd be happy to provide that. And usually the answer would be, well, gosh, let's start it with your guys. And I'd say, great, right? But I was giving an idea, you see. We also did fundraising projects where we raised money for local causes by bringing I did a diving contest that pitted the firemen against the policemen, and everybody would come and pay to see that, and I would give the money to a community cause, and of course it was great exposure for us. So that's one example of 100 I could give you where I just, before I was even trying to attract clients to my business coaching practice, which came along later, I found that in order to have something, get something, you have to give first and do it authentically.
So how did you come upon applying that knowledge to the business world?
Again, several things. I'll give you a couple of examples. One is, in our prolific digital communication era that we're in now, my inbox started filling up with people wanting stuff, wanting me to buy stuff, right? And as I was working with clients and we were talking through marketing process and how to basically be effective, I pointed to that. I said, so does your inbox have a lot of crap in it from people that are trying to get you to buy stuff? And they'd always say yes. And I say, how many times have you clicked on that? And they always say, like me, well, not very often, if ever. In fact, I hit the delete button before I even look at it. And I go, okay, well, guess what? If we're going to sell into the marketplace, we need to do it differently. So let's come up with some ideas. And so I've basically created a formula that I just call give, ask. Four gives and an ask. And then that challenges the business owner to come up with stuff that they can give. That's only the first level, though, because then we have to talk about, as you said, we tend to hold things closely. And so we have to then have a mindset shift. This may be talking past your question, but it definitely relates. You have to have a mindset shift to recognizing that you're giving things away. Even though you're giving things away, I should say, doesn't mean that you're giving away your store. Right? So think about walking through grocery stores these days. I love to go to Whole Foods as an example. They've got all kinds of little places, little kiosks where they're selling little bites of this and bites of that. You can, if you really want to, you can probably have lunch there just on the free stuff. But what's that about? It's like, taste it, try it. You might like more of it, and by the way, there it is right there on the shelf next to you. And so it's the same concept, give, ask, and don't worry that it's not gonna, number one, that you're giving away too much, or two, it's not gonna come back to you.
So what are some of the tools that you've used to measure that? Because that's that's not like a tangible sort of thing, it's.
So to measure the results of the strategy, you're saying? Well, there's a couple that I look for specifically. One has to do with hitting that sweet spot that you're just talking about, and that is if I get inquiries, the type of inquiry, not the number, which I'll get to in a second, is one, of course, but the type of inquiry is really important. And if I listen for something that sounds like, I ran across X, Y, or Z and just wanted to know more about, and these are the keywords, how to do that in my business, or how to do that. So I've hit a nice sweet spot, as you put it, between giving them enough about what, but not too much about how, because what I'm actually in the business of is making, and most business owners are, by the way, if you're a plumber, you're not just a pipe fixer, you're a pipe fixer that knows how to do it in such a way that the thing works when it didn't before, that the thing stays fixed when, when it could break again, et cetera. So so I listen for people asking for how after they've received some what. And then the other thing that I measure is the quality of the inquiries. I think we can all come up with all kinds of ways to, a phrase I use all the time with my clients is, just because you can doesn't mean you should. And so we can come up with all kinds of things to create traffic, to the website, to create people to click, tricky ways to get people to click on things and all that kind of stuff. But the quality of the inquiries is another thing that I measure. Are we having relevant conversations about doing something about a real problem? And so that has more to do with what I like to refer to as filters on the way to getting to me, and that's maybe another conversation. But yeah, it would be, are they asking me about how, and are they really acting like they want to do something about it. In other words, quality inquiry.
I would love to know, how is your practice, your coaching practice, different today as a result of putting this strategy in place?
Well, it's interesting. I can look back on my coaching, the evolution of my coaching practice, which, as you said, spans 30 years, and can say that I'm a better coach today than I've ever been. I'm not saying that boastfully. It's just happened. And if you pressed in and said, how come, or why, it's because I have learned as much from my clients and seeing what they do and what works, what challenges they have, what they've navigated to go through them, what they did to get themselves in that place in the first place. I've learned as much from them as more from them than any other thing I can say. I didn't pop into the coaching business and all of a sudden know everything that I needed to know to be a good coach, even though I tried to pretend that I did. But how this has affected it's caused me to be a smarter coach, because I've learned, by observation about what works. And this is just one of the many arenas where, where that's really played itself out.
So, Steve, let me ask you, for people who are wanting to learn a little bit more about the give, ask model, how do they get a hold of you?
Yeah, the best way to learn about what I'm doing and the approaches that I take, or a core approach I take to helping business owners reach their lifetime best success, is to join me at a virtual workshop that I do on a weekly basis. I call it a Slingshot session, because you get put into this launching device in an hour, less than an hour. It's complimentary, free. Of course, we're giving it away. A lot of great insight and knowledge on a framework that I use called the 7 Triggers to 7 Figures strategy. So it's how my clients are achieving and surpassing their first million in business, or their first million in their pocket. And I lay out a complete strategy in these virtual workshops. So you just go to slingshotsession.com, slingshotsession.com. You can read more about it. Jump into one of those. There's usually small groups, occasionally even just one person, which is totally great with me. And I definitely talk about this and many other principles that I believe are foundational to lifetime best success in business.
So that's slingshotsession.com. And then your company, Achievement Bridge,
Right.
is achievementbridge.com.
achievementbridge.com. And just to remind you, from elementary school, it's I before E, except after C, when you're trying to remember how to spell achieve. Lots of people stumble on that, but there you go. Yeah, that's it.
That's fantastic. And they can also reach you on LinkedIn, right? You hang out.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's how we discovered each other. And that's a great tool as well.
Again, folks, this is Lisa Wozniak with Woz Marketing, featuring Steve Dailey with another episode of Private Practice Owner of the Month, helping you navigate your yellow brick road. Have a great day.